Okay, good evening. Baruch Hashem, Rosh Chodesh, Cheshvan. Wow. So, we're learning Torah Aleph in the second chelik of Likutey Moharan. And we have basically covered we hold him B'Seif Hey, but, just as a refresher, specifically, we had Baruch Hashem Yom Tovim, Pesach, and we were not very consistent. So, the basis of this Torah is the Rebbe says that Ish Israeli, in other words, a Jew, was created to have dominion and memshala over the malachim. And this is something that infuriates, actually, it incites the jealousy of the malachim. So the thing is that it is always difficult when you're using idioms that are mishalim, and it's difficult to connect it to the ruchnius mitzias we're talking about. Say kinesa malachim. Oh, we're talking about it. What's a kindergarten? What's going on here? What do you mean malachim? Jealous? Not jealous? Well, who got the bigger piece of chicken? I mean, what kind of ken are we talking about? Oh man. Shalom Aleichem and Moshe. Baruch Hashem, Shana Tova. And so, when we're saying, sure, please. When we're saying that a Jew that has dominion over the malachim incites the jealousy of the malachim, which try to push him off, and a person needs protection. The way to protect oneself is to connect one to called Shorish Nishmas Yisrael, the root of the neshamas of the Jewish people. These are the Tzadikei Ador, Mefasomei Ador. They are the root, all the people that are under them receive from them. And the Rebbe says that there's a problem because some actually dominate via the force of azus, of chutzpah. In other words, it's not something which is natural to people. You can see it. Oh man. You can usually see it in Litvische Welt. Who do they consider to be the Gadol Ador? It's usually something that there are really no arguments about it. Somehow, the cream floats to the top. So if it's during the days of Ovadia Yosef, or during the days of Reb Chaim Kanievsky, Tzadikim Livracha, or whoever it is, it's the cream floats to the top, rises to the top. It's there's no argument. You have to vote. You have to this. You don't have to do any of that. But when we're talking about dominion, about let's say being the Rebbe, things are not always that simple. Because as Shulchan Aruch says that Milchatchila, the position of a Rav or a king is inheritatory, from father to son, in a way that, Shulchan Aruch says that even a Rav, Paskins Halacha, if he has a son that is capable of being a Rav, he should be first in line to fulfill that, that position before anybody else. And obviously, being a Rav and Paskin Halacha is about as meritocracy as you can get. I mean, the better man should have the job, right? But even there, Shulchan Aruch paskins that the son will come first. Now, when we are taking a look at the monarchy,
what's the son comes first and what?
The son comes first, even is a position of a Rav. If the Rav has a son that is right to be a Rav, I'm not talking about he's a Bam, he is right to be a Rav, so who koydem mikol adam? He's first in line to anybody. Even if you have somebody else who is a little bit better than him, then the son should be first. And that's a Rav, not about a Rebbe. I'm talking about a Rebbe. I'm talking about the Rebbe like Hasidic Rebbe.
That's even more than.
Okay, that's even more so. That's even a Rav that you say. I mean, it's a mumchias. I mean, it's an expert job. So over there, you would see that inheritance, shouldn't play a role at all. It does. Lalocha. So how much more so in positions that have to do with mamish malchus, monarchy. Until the 18th century, kings used to be kings. Really. I mean, there were people who have the Torah definition of what pshat to be a melech. The pshat of the Torah being a melech is somebody who has a power of life and death over other people. So you have people like Stalin or the guy in Iran, that Talhead, what's his name? Whatever head in his or the guy in North Korea. They don't call themselves kings, but they have the authority of life and death over anyone that you wish. Now the thing is, the problem with title that is inherited is that, especially when it comes to absolute power, it doesn't guarantee that those who are holding, with the office holders, are actually the fittest one. In fact, the 400 years there was between Yitzis Mitzrayim, when Yeshua came to Israel, there were 400 years in which Am Yisrael were ruled by shoftim, by judges, until the people said that they wanted to have a melech. Shmuel Navi is not happy about it at all. He chastises the people and he tells them, an absolute monarch, he's going to, is going to abuse you, he's going to take whatever he wants, and he's going to, play fast and loose with whatever it is he feels like.
Why do you say that? Even though
You're asking a very good question.
False for a king.
So the Torah says one of the three mitzvahs that they were ordered to get into Israel is to put a king upon, right?
Yeah.
Nevertheless, so Shmuel Navi says, you should have remained accepting Kadosh Baruch Hu as you can. That's what Shmuel Navi tells them. Nevertheless, be that as it may, Shaul HaMelech becomes king, and then from the time of Shaul HaMelech all the way to Tzidkiyahu, right? I don't know by how many kings were there. 20 something. I'm not sure. Okay, hundreds of years, and only 7 of them were tzaddikim. 7, 22. You know, of the head of dominion, head of the Malchus over Yehuda. Okay, I mean the Malchus split during the Rav Shlomo HaMelech with Yerom ben Nevat. You know, it's already started. You know, the many of them were pagans. Many of them were idolaters. You know, and big balagan, big. Now the thing is that the station of a Rebbe of Hasidic dynasty, by and large, is supposed to be meritorious. The tzaddikim, Talmidei Baal Shem, the Talmidei Magid. Who were they? What's the biggest tzaddikim? There were, but nevertheless, during their time, Shalom Aleichem, Shana Tova. During their time, there were already what Rabbeinu has famously called Mefarsamim Shel Sheker, false tzaddikim, make-believe tzaddikim. I mean, it's a coveted job. Would you like to be a king? Sure, why not? Let's see. Okay, I have time now. It's okay. You can be a king, no problem. How long do you need? You know? Oh man. So what you have here is a system that is far from perfect. In fact, the Toldos Yaakov Yosef, the Talmud of the Baal Shem Tov, told us the first Hasidic sefer ever is the Toldos. And he already, Talmud of the Baal Shem Tov, the first generation after, already writes that there are those who are wearing a talus on Erev Shabbos, which was the minhag of the tzaddikim, of the rebbes, or Mefarsamim, that says that all that they are the root of Sitra Achra in the world.
What do you mean talus on Erev Shabbos?
The minhag of the Talmidei Baal Shem, that not only the Baal Tefillah would wear a talus, but the Rebbe will also wear a talus.
In the shul?
Yeah, in the shul, Erev Shabbos, during davening.
I mean, order after night.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to put the talus in. That's the way they would daven. So he writes there are already people that are wearing talesim on Erev Shabbos, which is a euphemism for Mefarsamim, famous people who are famous as tzaddikim. He says that they are the root, they are the source of Sitra Achra in the world. Meaning the Sitra Achra gets its koyach from them, from the belief that people have in them. It's not that they are such chas v'chalila, each and every one of them is Jack the Ripper. I'm not talking about that. It's just false leading people. So the Rebbe says it's a big problem because you need to connect to them for some Shabbat. But the point is, some for some are BMS, they're true tzaddikim, and some, want to ride the coattail of real tzaddikim and call themselves whatever it is. And in fact, one of the Rebbe's Talmidim was a real tzaddik, obviously. He had an urge to become a Rebbe. Yeah. I don't know who he was because it's not mentioned by name. But if you understand, the Rebbe's Talmidim, you're talking about Nos and Naftali, whatever, you're talking about, heavy duty guys. But he wanted to become a Rebbe, and because he figured there's certain good that he can do, whatever it is. So the Rebbe told him, if you will become a Meforsim, if you'll become a Rebbe, you won't be able even to make the bracha sheyotzar with true kavanah.
Why? Why won't you be the first?
Because everybody's looking at you. Look at him. Wow. Look at the kavanah of the Rebbe. Look at the piety. Look at the holy. Whoa, fire is coming out of him. Everybody's looking at me.
Who was this person?
I don't know who he was. One of Rebbe's told me.
Yeah.
And the Rebbe says about one of the Meforsamim of that generation, that of course in our generation we call it Kodesh, wherever that person is. The Rebbe said that he davened for 15 years, or 5 years, or 3 years, I'm not exactly sure, for the sake of a cat. For a cat.
What?
For the sake of a cat.
Down for the sake of a cat.
Of a cat.
A sick cat?
No, a sake. For the sake of a cat. What does it mean? Okay, so I'll tell you what happened.
What happened? They davened for
For the sake of a cat.
cat.
Yes, listen to the story, you'll understand. He says, he used to daven, this Rebbe used to daven b'yechidus, okay? And he used to hear how the Hasidim were pushing the door while he was davening. And he realized that they were like watching him. So he really davened like with all his koiches. And only 3 years or 5 years later, he realized that it was just a cat pushing the door. Okay? So he was putting all his koiches into davening for the sake of a cat. All right? So it's a... You want to become a rabbi? Anyhow. So the Rebbe says, because of that, you have to know who are the true tzaddikim, that you need to connect to them, because you can't connect to every single Jew in the generation, and who are mefusamim that are really, fakers. Excuse me for saying the, crude word, but this is exactly what they are. To one degree, to the next. I'm not saying that they're Rishonim, chas v'chalila. I mean, there could be some Rishonim, but I'm saying we're basically, by and large, we're not talking about Rishonim.
Show me.
Yeah, well, listen, it's a really difficult Messiah. Let's say that your father was a Rebbe, okay? And now, and the father passes away, and now comes the time for a new leader. You're El Chayid, you learn Torah, you daven, and you have a little bit of, who should be the Rebbe if not me? Or the whole thing says the whole Hasidus should go in Dredaran because I don't deem myself worthy. Adrab, if I don't deem myself worthy, that's more the reason I should be a Rebbe. Because not only am I great, I'm also an onav. Right? I'm also humble.
Isn't it similar to the accusations of the Misnagdim in the early days of Hasidut that there was too much Rebbe worship, there was too much sheker?
They say that Reb Chaim Volozhin was very close, supposedly, were very close to Reb Levi Berdichev, and knew how important the Berdichev Rav was, according to his asaga. And he said that he asked him a question, exactly that question. How can you claim that Hasidus is the truth when there's so many showmen and fakers out there? Fakers doesn't mean 100% fake. It could be 50%, 20%, whatever it is, 80%, whatever. So Rabbi Levi Yitzchak Berdichev told him that, in fact, that is exactly the proof to the truth behind Hasidus. He says, because those fakers are imitating someone. You know, they are, they are pretending to be something that they are not, which means that that which they are pretending to exists. So Reb Chaim Volozhin said that it's the best answer he got for this. But really, the difference is that Rav Nosson Aldi writes it in Yemei Moharan, not plain out, so I can definitely say it. The Litvische world has no Amunas Chachamim. Zero.
That's no what?
No Amunas Chachamim.
But they respect the rebbe.
Yes.
No what?
Amunas Chachamim.
Uh-huh.
Whatever they respect of their Rebbeim, nothing.
Nothing?
Yes. Yemei Moharan, it's written down.
What does it mean?
It means very simple. They don't believe that such thing is true tzaddikim. Whatever it is, the Rebbe explains what the tzaddik is and what the tzaddik does. They don't believe it exists. Oh, they are very G'dolei Torah.
How much possible?
Talmid Chacham, there's Godel B'Torah, tzaddik, whatever you want. But basically, it's he is just like you and me, except he is like a Torah professor that has very, very good midos, you know, and is very like, but a tzaddik. I remember I have a chavrusa, a Litvish guy, and I learned Torah Ches, Likutey Moharan Chelik Aleph, that the Ruach Chaim comes from a tzaddik ador. He could not get over it. He couldn't learn it. He can't accept it.
Maybe so.
What Rabbeinu says about the tzaddik, the guy says, I cannot accept that such a thing exists.
What is Rebbe Moshe Rabbeinu?
So Moshe Rabbeinu is a different category. You know, it's like it's very easy to categorize somebody like Moshe Rabbeinu as somebody who was even there, there's a problem there. Take a look at the same thing about him, the only Kodesh Baruch Hu can do. Oh, what so about this printed in the Sidurim? So what? I don't know, but it's a problem. So they don't have a Amunas Chachamim b'chlal. And even those, you know, that have Amunas Chachamim, they believe, basically, the Gadol, the Rebbe is somebody that because he was appointed, he's a son of another Rebbe, he was already born perfect. And, you know, like, there's a mashal that the person is like going up a mountain for 70 years, and when he reaches a ledge on the mountain, he sees a baby. And he says, how can there be a baby here? It took me 70 years to climb. He says, but he was born here. That baby was born 7 years. Well, it takes you 7 years to climb. That's where that baby starts. There are definitely neshamas. You know, the very oichen neshamas. But the whole idea that my Rebbe is a tzaddik because he's my Rebbe, that's it, the rudimentary emunah of Amunas Chachamim. Rabbeinu says it is better to be a fool and to believe everything than to be smart and not believe anything, even the truth. But the point is that if you want to have dominion over Malachim, good enough is not good enough. I mean, first of all, that it's good enough, it's not good enough. You need the real McCoy. You need a true McPherson. The Rebbe says, in order to know which McPherson is through Azus, and which McPherson is, is Emes Dika Tzadik, this is done through what you call Binyan Yerushalayim, the construction, the perfection of Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim is called Yira Sholem, a complete Yira. The heart contains pure Yira Shamayim, and then the heart can tell you, your heart can tell you who is for real and who just looks the part, but it's just a part that he's acting. And then the Rebbe says, okay, what's the problem with actually, okay, so you have a Yira Shamayim, you have a Yira Sholem, but there are three meters, as we learned. There are three traits, vices that destroy this completion of Yerushalayim. And this is Taivas Mammon, Taivas Achila, and the Taiva for women. This entire Torah, and it's a big, complex Torah, its entire Torah is devoted to that union of perfecting the ability to tell who is a true Mephursum, so you can connect to him, and who is not. This whole Torah, it's a long Torah. But still, we're still remaining with the first question, why would the Malachim be jealous? It's not kindergarten over here. It's not politics. It's not elections. What do you mean? Because Baruch Hu created the Jewish people to have dominion over Malachim, so this be it. What does it make to them? The answer is as follows. I mean, one of the answers. A Malach represents perfection. A Malach represents, Kodesh Baruch Hu tells a Malach to do something, the Malach does it. Now, the Midah, the trait of Emes, is also a Malach. Midah Sadin is a Malach. Midah Chesed is a Malach. These are all live beings. All the Tzad HaShava in all of them is that they are perfect. Emes is 100% Emes. Din is 100% Din. Chesed is 100% Chesed. Every Malach, Shana Tova, every single Malach represents perfection. Every Malach represents perfection, according to his inyan. Michael is perfect, Gavriel is perfect, each Raphael is perfect, Real is perfect. Each Malach, big or small, archangel, smaller angel, they're all 100% perfect. To understand it, Derech Moshel, Arizal says that Kodesh Baruch Hu created the world in two fashions. One of them is in circles. The spheres are circles, concentric circles, one within another, within another, within another. And then there's another fashion which is called Yosher, which means straight line, top to bottom. What's the difference between spheres, the igulim of circles, in spheres the Yosher, from top to bottom? The answer is spheres the Igulim, every single point on a circle is far the same distance from the center equally. So that represents, as you would call, the world of nature or the world of Malachim, in the sense that all the animals, this is every single point along the circle, around the circle is distanced equally to the center of the circle. Means that every single creation is perfect for what it was created for. For instance, a horse is 100% horse. Perfectly. A horse is perfectly a horse. A camel, perfectly a camel. A duck, well, it walks like a duck, sounds like a duck, 100% duck. Same thing as a person. A person is 100% person. In that particular sense, the entire Bria is like a circle. A circle is perfect. Every Nakuda along the circumference is distance the same to the center. Everybody is perfectly who he is supposed to be. An ant is 100% ant. A bird is 100% bird. Outside my window also. It drives me nuts. Anyhow. However, the oilum of circumference means that there's no beginning and there's no end. Where do you start a circle? Doesn't begin, doesn't end. Every Nakuda is equal distance to the center. However, the Bria, the spheres, the Yosha, starts from the top and goes all the way down. And the spheres are, first of all, they were one after the other. Then after Olam Shvira, it started after Olam Atikun, it became like these triangles, as Chochmah bin Adas, Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes, Netzach Hod, Yisod Malchut. So you have, it's like, so the Arizal called it, it's a form of a person. You have Chochmah bin Adas is the head, it's the first triangle, right, left, and center. Then you have right hand, left hand, and the body, Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes. Then you had Netzach, Chod, Yisod, and then you have the Malchus. Now, the main difference between the spheres, the Yosher, and spheres, the Igulim, is that a kav, a line, has a beginning, has a direction, and has an end. A circle, as we said before, doesn't have a beginning, it doesn't have an end. So there's no direction, it doesn't go anywhere. Malachim, per definition, come keviyochol from the oil of the Igulim, derech Moshe. They understand perfection. Because Baruch Hu wanted to create Adam, he says he consulted the Malachim, and they said, no, don't create man. Why? Because he is going to sin. Now, Kodesh Baruch Hu is absolute. Kodesh Baruch Hu is not a nice idea. Kodesh Baruch Hu is absolute. It's absolute reality. If a person does something, chas v'chalila, against, I don't think it's not the kavod of Kodesh Baruch Hu. It's already is in deep trouble, deep trouble. Forget about an avera. You can't create, you want to create human beings, right? They will have choice. They have choice means they will fail. Otherwise, there's no choice. Choice means that you can choose something else, right? So it's inevitable that men will sin. Otherwise, what's the whole exercise of futility? It's a whole joke. The whole thing is a joke. What? Yes, real free will, which means that it says you have an equal chance to choose this or to choose that. So it's inevitable that men will sin. And what? Against the will of Kodesh Baruch Hu. That is absolute. It's absolute reality. It cannot be. It cannot be and should not be able to be. Because Kodesh Baruch Hu, besides the fact that Kodesh Baruch Hu is the creator and is the, I don't have any other words to put it except that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is HaKadosh Baruch Hu. How can that's Kinus HaMalachim. It's not a private peeve. It's not a jealousy that they have, I want it. Not, no, I want it. That's not it's a jealousy for the truth. How can there be a being that not only that sins and is supposed to have dominion over the Malachim? I mean, it's outrageous. For the Malachim, it's outrageous. Mainly, you can have, beings, whatever it is, that have no choice. There'll be some of these lowly beings, creepy crawlies, I don't know, in the world, whatever it is, doing whatever they want. Okay, fine. Let them be Gehenim fodder, whatever. And they're supposed to have the dominion over the Malachim? We're supposed to ask them what the Kodesh Baruch Hu is doing? Mitzad Redifas Emes. That's the jealousy of the Malachim. So if you are such rarefied air that you're supposed to have dominion over the Malachim, what do you bring to the table? Well, I saw a James Bond movie. Is that good enough? 007, yeah. License to Kill. Is that good enough to have dominion of the Malachim? Just playing not so much. A juicy steak. Does that work? No, but the whole situation is problematic. That's one of the concerns. So their initial thing is to push a person off. All the taivas, all the bilbulim, all the chlishas hadas, everything else. This is a result of kinus hamalachim. Ad kedei kach, you have to understand when you're talking about these, the I don't want to call it celestial beings because it sounds so goyish, but it's these divine creations, because we're all divine creations. You're talking about this non-corporeal beings. Okay, I don't even know how to call it. They say that the chayos, this is the living beings, one of the highest level of malachim. The chayos ratzu v'shoiv, the running towards the Kodesh Baruch Hu, and from the fear, they're retreating. And they're so petrified from the splendor of the highness of Kodesh Baruch Hu, that they run towards him, and then from the awesome, from the fear, they retreat. And that exercise of this avodah of running forwards and backwards makes them sweat because it's all an effort. So there's the sweat of the chayas is the fire of Gehenna. This is sweat. I'm not deodorant. What's sweat? What are we talking about? But when we are talking about the highest, we're talking about sweat. We are talking about totally spiritual definitions. That we're using words that are like, that's like what is sweat? Sweat, when a person puts an effort in, so the body excretes the toxins that is in the body through the sweat glands, whatever. This is physically how this happens by a person. So whenever the Chayas HaKodesh, you could say, supposedly, that they are coming close to Kodesh Baruch Hu, with this effort coming to a Kodesh Baruch Hu, they get purified. When they get, Rotzav HaShoig, get purified, and the impurities that leave their quote unquote, whatever you can call it, body, whatever it is from their existence, that's the sweat, the desire, that's that's the fire of Gehenna. Just to make us understand how much we don't understand what we're talking about. And you're supposed to have dominion over them. It's not Chazal Chalila Akino. So everything that the person goes through, all the Yetzirah that he goes through, all the things that pull him this way, that way, all stem from the Kinnitz Malacha.
But for sure, the tzaddikim,
Mm-hmm.
the true tzaddikim would have dominion. Because they're, control of their...
But you also created for that. You created for that. In fact, now the thing is, you're making a good point. And the Nekuda is as follows. How does somebody who is imperfect as me can have dominion over the Malacha? First of all, how could I do it? How could I have it? That's point number one. Point number two, why does the Kodesh Baruch Hu want it that way? I mean, they have a point. Kodesh Baruch Hu is perfect. They claim that whoever says the Kodesh Baruch Hu has to be perfect. You want them to have free choice? Fine. But free choice means they have to change diapers because they're soiling themselves. I mean, it's like how can it be? Reb Nelson says that what happened was that when Midas Haemes and Malachim said, do not create man because he will eventually sin against you. Obviously, the Malachim know what they're talking about. So they said, the Midrash says that Kadosh Baruch Hu took the Midah of Emes and threw it to the ground. The pasuk, "Vatoshlecha Emes Arza," truth was flung to the earth, to the ground. That is slightly problematic because, so what if the truth is flung to the ground? It's still the truth. Throw it in the wall and it sticks on the wall. So what? What difference does it make? What is this gesture of throwing the truth to the ground? What does it do? The answer is HaKadosh Baruch Hu is telling the Malachim, your hasaga is you can only serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu if you're 100% perfect. But the truth is that this is false. Because the most perfect creation cannot serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's still such a quantum leap that is. The only way to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu is if you are flung to the ground And from this depth of inequity, you're coming back up to Kodesh Baruch Hu. There's already, in encyclopedia, there's a pic, that says, not worth it. In the encyclopedia, there's your picture there. Shenema ve'emes ve'eretz titzmach. The only way to serve a Kodesh Baruch Hu is beyond perfection. If you're perfect, you can't serve a Kodesh Baruch Hu. Because the Kodesh Baruch Hu is everything. And no matter how perfect you are, you're just you. That's it. The only way that a creation can serve a Kodesh Baruch Hu is if it goes through the mud and realizes that you might as well stick a fork in me because I'm done, I'm finished. And you get up to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu from where you are. This is how you supersede perfection. This is the understanding of the tzaddikim. And this is the emes that the malachim cannot understand. Only tzaddikim can understand that. That's why, to protect yourself from the jealousy of the malachim, who do you have to connect to? To the tzaddikim, who work upon that principle of Vatoshlachem is outside, it's Moshe Rabbeinu throwing the luchos to the ground and breaking them. And then Va'emes Me'eres Titzmach, because they understand it's the only way to get closer to Kodesh Baruch Hu. To protect yourself, you have to connect yourself to the tzaddikim. So this is why it was done that way. And every single time that you heed that, in other words, you get off, off the canvas, you've been knocked down and you get up, you're winning another battle. You're doing it the right way. That's the way to do it. And so it says, how? Okay, then you got people who are tzaddikim amitim, and some are not tzaddikim amitim, right? How can you tell? He says the answer is through when your heart, the year of your heart is complete, it's perfect, then you're able to tell who is a true tzaddik and who is just trying to sell you a bill of goods. What's this year of Shalom? That these three taivas go in and complicate matter. Yira Shalom, Yira Shlemo, Yerushalayim represents a true cognition of reality. A person goes al kochach hanoilad, whether you like it or not, you're born. Whether you like it or not, you live. Whether you like it or not, you leave this world. Whether you like it or not, you're going to give din v'chesed mifnei melech machan kodesh baruch. Mishnah Pirkei Avos. A person who is cognizant of this emes. In fact, let's put it this way. The more cognizant you are, the more it is a present state in your mind that that's the face of reality, the more you'll be able to deal with the challenges in your life properly, the more you'll be able to find the answers that you need properly, the more you'll be able to know who has true answers and who does not have true answers. This is called a das. Ata resel das ki Hashem hu Elokim. What does a das mean? A das means that Hashem hu Elokim, that the Kodesh Baruch Hu and Chasadim and Gvuras, everything is a Kodesh Baruch Hu. And life is, embryonic, human, post-human. Post-human is because when a person leaves this world and returns to dust, the Gashmius returns to dust. This is when his neshama is actually reaching the tachlis of where it's supposed to get. Only then the cycle is finished. The more a person is cognizant, the less distracted a person is, the more equipped he is to make the true decisions. Das is the thing that tells you how you're supposed to react to the challenges that confront you. Now, the vice of money, the vice of eating, the vice of women, which means basically is what they call the sight of this world, distracts a person. Yeah, sure, of course, born, I'm going to live and everything else, whatever it is. But in the meantime, what's wrong with sushi? We're a little, got some hot mayonnaise on it. Wow, what would you like on it? Wasabi, what would you like on your sushi? It's like inside out, you like it fried. What would you like?
One extra piece of cake at the bar mitzvah, the wedding.
Oh, it's not like I have a time. It's a mitzvah, right? I mean, come on, man. So these things, what they do is they melt down the objectivity of Midas a year, right? The year is, there's year, but it's not sholem, it's not complete. That's why the Rebbe is teaching us, and we will continue with us next week, what steps you need to take in order to conquer one midah after the other, to perfect the heart, to be able to talk with the true tzaddikim, cling to them, and be able to withstand the battle against the kina of the malachim, the jealousy of the malachim. And so, first of all, to have a good chodesh. It's chodesh Cheshvan. We should have a marvelous year, and Rat Hashem, a year of health, and a year that is clean, Rat Hashem, of any machshavas. Now the thing is that clean of machshavas means machshavas that you stay on with, because they wander in whether you like it or not. The question is, when do you recognize, what am I thinking about exactly? Whoa. Time out. Huh? No. Stop. That is how you fight against the Kiddush HaMalachim, with the stop sign. Stop. There's a lot to talk about it, but B'ezrat Hashem will be continuing next week. Have a good Shabbos, Pashas Noach, So anybody can stay away from wine. Well advised. Kol Tov, B'ezrat Hashem, and good Shabbos. Recording.